And we are back, and I need to change the background because it's the wrong one, but
Because you suck.
no, sure, we'll go with that. We're unprofessional. We're extremely unprofessional about this, and we do not
It
care.
doesn't matter. It's
No,
Calder.
it's Calder we're dealing
It's
with.
the Calder show.
The Calder show. Anyways, I will recite what I have, and then you can
Okay.
add anything as we go. So in the last
Yep.
episode, you on your own, you had separated from the party. They left Zeldrift's tower, and you decided to, after doing a tiny bit of research with Zeldrift on your own personal endeavors, making your way to Grandhelm, where you ran into Garrison, speaking about the war and some of the things happening with that, as well as meeting with. I know his name starts with a D. Oh my god! His name was
Divian?
Divian. I was like, not Damien, not Damien. My head just like shut off. Yeah, Dimian, uh, who traded a bit of information with you, as well as showed you a spell that you can eventually learn with your Dragon Shard familiar, which was the Summon Lesser Dragons. And staying there for a bit and doing a bit of research is where we kind of left off. We now have an official amount of time that you have set for meeting the
Yeah.
party at a certain location if you wish to do that. So, if there's anything you wish to bring up that I didn't. Oh, you also went to Grimscar after.
Yes, I
That
was
was the
going to
last one. Yeah,
say.
I
It
forgot about the
was go
Grimscar.
to Divian, go to
Divian.
Morian Bay, then go to
Yes, you
Grimscar.
went to Morian
And,
Bay. Yeah, I don't have all the notes.
yeah. So here, I'll walk through what I have. So we're at Zeldrift. We're talking to him about some of the Sarthstag lore. And then we go to talking to Garrison, talking to him about more of the Sarthstag stuff, and he has a draconic, demonic ritual book that was really cool looking.
It was a book from his own kind, is what he
Yep.
said.
Historic tome with the name Lumen and a crude sketch of a lupin man doing blood magic. So, it's the case where that is the story and the origination of the three curses and
The
runes
three hound
that we've
curses.
that we've seen. And then we go talk to Divian, and he can summon a fucking baby dragon, which is badass. I'm getting hella Dragon Fable, Dragon Shard vibes from this. If you've played that game, awesome. If not, go play it. It was a browser game for like 18 years, and now it's on its own launcher. Arctic's Games shout out because it's a dope ass company. Oh, and then we get Gort the horse. And then
Yes, you bought Gort. We have Doug and Gort. I forgot about
yeah,
Gort.
we have Gort. I think Gort's still alive.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still in not Stone Farm, Grimscar.
Grimscar, yes.
Yeah, because I let what's her name
You
take care
left
of him.
him with Belle.
Belle, yeah. So, yeah, I get Gort and travel to Morian Bay, which is where we started. Head to the guild hall to see the old man. Go over to the dragon cave. That was our first quest.
Yes.
And then I also start hearing freaking music that I don't know
Yes,
where
you
that's
keep
from.
hearing music every time you
Yeah.
sleep or do certain things. You keep hearing this music, and it's familiar to you.
It reminds Calder of Jabbers and Trinket the first time meeting them in Morian Bay when
Yes.
they were cosplaying as the
Well,
traveling
when
performer.
Jabbers was, Trinket was just being a
Yeah.
thief, because that's what she
Right,
is.
right. Yeah. So I head to the Dragon Cave, look for stuff. I do legend lore for the first time, and that was crazy.
You learned quite
Bunch
a
of
bit
stuff.
about
Yeah.
the
I had
cardinal.
like a paragraph of stuff.
No, not the cardinal.
Black Watchman.
You had asked about the cardinal
Yeah.
in Grimscar and other places.
Yeah.
This was about the guy in the cloak. Yeah.
Yeah. I also go I go to the meet the kobold spawn, which was
Yes.
funny.
You found the
And
original
then
spawn point.
yeah, I head to Grimscar, go over to the Hunters Guild to see Belle and what's his name, Usif,
Usif.
and I look through Manafort's journal and get a bunch of pages that he helped, which is really, really nice.
Yes.
And
And he
then I
said
keep hearing,
he would copy the journal
yep,
for you
copy
in
the
time.
journal. I have that written down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
He said he would
all right,
deliver it to you via the
courier.
carrier,
Yeah.
which we've already met, so we don't have to do
Yep.
any introductions on that one.
Yeah. So, I guess spawn in is gonna be Grimscar.
Yes. So.
So I guess I'll backtrack just a smidge.
Okay.
Wake up, go talk to Belle, get some breakfast, let her know to take care of Gort. She can have him for free. Um, I'm gonna go travel, and I will probably travel back here. I'm gonna ask her if she knows of a teleportation circle that is around Grimscar, or if the closest one is just going to be in Almoria in the King's Castle, Grand Home.
She would inform you that there isn't one in this town.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Not every town has one, unfortunately, but
Yeah. I thought with the Mad Wizard there might be one, but it's fine.
I would say you would remember seeing one in there, but it was broken and
Yeah,
destroyed.
okay, yeah, I remember that now.
It had
Yeah.
large cracks through it, rendering it useless, pretty much.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. I'll let her know if she has the chance and someone's going to Grand Helm to run Gort over there and keep him and give him to Divian with the message that it's just Calder's horse and that he'll pay to take care of him
Okay.
or to
Yeah.
repurpose him if the military wants or needs him.
Okay. Yeah. She would say pretty much consider it done.
Thank you. And with that, I'll bid you adieu. I must go back to my hometown now. So Calder will bow, nod, uh, say his goodbyes to Usiv as well, if he's awake and over by the warehouse,
Mm-hmm.
and then go off to just like around the back of the Hunters Guild where no one can really see, just because I don't want anyone interrupting my casting of the teleportation circle.
Yeah. And I
And
assume you're doing it as a ritual, so you don't have to use spell slots. So.
yep, yes sir.
All
Me
right. So you
also
spend the
thought
11 minutes using the chalk, drawing out these symbols and creating your circle. And as you complete the last one, a essentially portal opens before you.
Calder will be like, all right, home sweet home. Take a deep breath and step through.
All right. So you are shunted to the town of Tithrin, located within Normandy. I'm going to give myself one one additional review of this town. So, because
Yeah.
to be honest, we hadn't fully we had stuff not fully developed these
Yeah.
places, but you remember the town very well. Very kind of large. It's a very, I would say, modernized town, with the exception of like machines. Very like
Mhm.
large stone structures, many made of brick and other fine materials. Um, Several schools kind of taking up a large portion of the town, considering these schools are kind of what kind of runs this city or town.
Yeah.
Um, and the place that you had teleported in at is the kind of the center point of the town, where there's a couple of gateways between the four major towns of Normandy.
Right.
And you appeared in the center, this kind of circle near the center of it, kind of jumping out of this circle. And a couple people give you kind of a look, but other than that, that's fairly normal for someone to just appear from this teleportation circle, especially
Mhm.
if someone had traveled outside the country. Um, where would you like to go? I'm not going to make
I
assumptions.
would like to head back to the college to
All
see
right.
my parent and to see the headmaster.
Okay. So you make your way to the college. It's easy endeavor. You've been here most of your life. It's
Yeah,
probably the last like 10, 15 years, not even that. Probably the last 10 years of your life you have spent away from here. But this
that
place,
I
you
don't
know,
remember.
yeah, you don't remember some of it. Uh, you're able to navigate the streets fairly easily. There's a few differences that very minor things that have changed over the years, but nothing that you can't accept or like kind of make your way around whatnot. Um, and as you arrive to the very luxury, not luxurious, very grand,
Mythical.
mythical, grand
Hmm.
college of which your parents do work. Um, you do find your way to. I assume you're looking for your father's office.
Yes.
Okay, and you would know probably around this time too. This would be about the time that he would be spending in his office. So you would find him, the human man, sitting in his fine purple robes with silver trim at his desk, kind of very closely looking through various papers that are before him as he kind of uh, glances up from his work as you kind of enter the room. Looks a little
Hmm.
confused and a bit relieved to also see you. Um, Kind of pausing for a moment as he doesn't really say anything as you first enter, just kind of like slowly lowers the paper he's holding down to the down onto his desk.
Hey, long time no see.
It has been some time, yes. How have you been? He slowly kind of gets up from his desk, kind of comes
I'll
around the
walk
desk.
up. I'll walk over to like embrace him, basically.
He hugs you for a moment, and there's a pause. And he kind of, after a moment, he kind of steps back and just says, "I assume you've been doing well, considering, well, you're alive."
Yeah, I kind of joined a group of adventurers that are over in Almoria. We have been traveling around, and now that, well, Svarstag is starting to attack, we've had a change of pace. I had a few questions for the Grand Master and really anyone that has been doing any historical research on the Obscurus. So, sadly,
Yes.
not a family-oriented visit, but
No,
I thought I'd stop by.
I would expect nothing less, considering, you know, you were raised by me and your mother. Ah,
How have you been? How has the college been?
it's been a little stressed, to say the least. The war causing a bit of tension, and the need to export a few aids out have been keeping us quite busy.
Gotcha. Well, I hope the Grandmaster is doing all right, and you've been holding up your own as well. Where's Mom?
She is off somewhere at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. Um, Helping with some of the war efforts that are going on. She's still in Normandy, but I believe she's helping track the various items that are being exported and assistances.
Ah, I see. Well, I'll try my best to find her before I make my leave, but if you know where the Grandmaster is, I'll follow.
Of course, and he kind of walks, he kind of leads you out of his office and uh, waves a hand at the door as you both leave, and the door slowly closes itself. He keeps moving along, and he says, "So, what exactly have you and your colleagues been up to?"
Well, to briefly summarize, um, well, we helped the Prince of Grandhelm and Almoria. We helped him with his curse. He had a blood curse of lycanthropy. He had one of the old runes that was cursed by a witch in Svartstag swamps, and we helped him cure himself, but it's oddly uncured yet cured at the same time. So I'll have to go visit him, but he was not at Grandhelm when I went over. Then we went to Grimskar, another town, Valmoria, to help with a mad wizard who had a small collapse of time, and so we had a little bit of an experience due to that. What felt like only one day was about 2 weeks, but we helped clean him out and all of his mutants. He was he was trying something similar to immortality, but more more chimera instead of lichhood, trying to mutate and change out the old parts of the body to keep the soul new, which he was putting down his research, but after reading a little bit of it, it just gets nonsensical. After that, we went a little bit further south to what's it called? Greyborough, to help out with some thieves, and that was kind of when Svartstag started to attack, so we were cut a little bit short on our adventures there. But we visited the town after Greyborough himself had to leave, and it doesn't look too much different, so whoever he put in charge is doing decently.
I see. And you noticed as you were telling this, certain mentions of the blood magic and the time thing seem to greatly interest him, and he seems to have a lot of questions, but he also seems to be holding back almost a little bit, to like as if he realizes your time is probably very precious at the moment.
Yeah.
And he's not wanting to intrude too much, and he does say, though, he says, I actually spoke with Greyborough not too long ago. He came here in search of a place to continue some sort of study.
I see. Well, I'll have to catch up to him over here whenever I have some more time. I can tell you have plenty of questions, and don't worry, I do too. I am taking notes in my spellbook, however, across my journey, which basically, in canon lore, Calder's like my notes are Calder's notes in the back of his spellbook.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So I'll be able to transcribe these for you to kind of take note and take part of our adventures afterwards. So I'll get that to you whenever I have a moment of rest. Right now it's urgent that I get more information on some things.
Yes, it sounds to be that way. And as he kind of says that, turn the corner to the headmaster's office, which is near one. It's within one of the taller towers of this. I guess you'd call it an academy, essentially. And upon reaching these two very large wooden doors, he does a brief knock, and the doors slowly open. I don't know. Did you send me something on the headmaster?
I never named him. I just realized that.
I was going to ask because I was like, "Do we have a name for the headmaster?" Because I've been trying to prepare. Forgot about the headmaster.
I don't have a name for him. I just realized because I have all of my allies actually written down.
I got this.
Like literally, Tithran College of Magic Headmaster, Silver and Iron Port Captains, Lorne City Folk, Maverick the Guard of Grandhelm, which was my college friend, Prince Joseph of Grandhelm, Garrison the Yugoloth, Bell of Grimskar and Rangers. Like I have all of the allies.
You have all the allies, just you never named him.
I never named him. Oh, fuck.
That's funny. Give me a moment. I will have something.
Here. I'll just like zoom through some names on the Discord that I'm in.
I have some. I have characters like named and stuff. I just have to like find the right one that I would
How about
like to.
Murdoch?
Murdoch works. We're gonna add that to the note.
I think that'd be good. That'd be a good name for him. Let me
uh,
actually write that down.
yeah, I'm
Both of us
gonna.
was like, shit, write it down, write it down, write it
Yeah,
down.
let me make a note of Murdoch.
Murdock.
Murdock. Murdoch. Headmaster. In fifth grade.
I completely forgot to name him because I never knew that
Hey,
I would be able to come back.
you're doing better. You did better with your lore than some people did. So
Oh, dude, I gave you like buckets of lore in the beginning
I
of
will
this
say the
campaign.
person who probably gave me the best was Jared, but that's
Really?
it is some dark shit. But we'll get to that at some point.
Yes. Okay.
I'll have to share it with you because I know you guys will never end up in the place that he made.
Yeah, I was gonna.
The
This is
other
like the
party will,
ball bear
but
area.
he's watching right now and he's probably like yeah, I did that.
Yeah, what's up with it? Uh
Yeah. You want to see some scary shit? Come to my place.
Yeah, honestly, God no.
Anyways,
That and the meat grinder.
yeah,
Hell no.
it's not that detailed. I have to wing half of that. But or at least what I have from him isn't detailed. I've been winging it, and so far I think I've been doing it right. But I could care less by this point. Anyways, you enter the office. He is going to be an elf, a high elf. So a high elven wizard. Um, you know of a very high caliber of magic.
Right.
Um, due
Hey, can you
to
teach me these spells that are on this magical list that break the fourth wall? What the hell is the fourth wall? Don't worry about it.
yeah, don't worry about that. If you ask that to Zeldrif, he might be able to answer you. No, just kidding.
Shut up.
You enter the office though, and you see him. Uh, he's sitting near the back of this kind of large chamber, sitting upon a very comfortable looking armchair. And as you kind of walk in, you do notice that he seems to be in the middle of a scrying spell. Various incense around him that are burning. His head kind of tilted back a bit, and he is just kind of with a blank stare looking up at the ceiling as you guys kind of enter the room. Um, and after you guys kind of make yourselves comfortable, or at least present within the room, about a minute or two after you guys enter, he kind of he blinks several times and his eyes kind of return to the normal state. He kind of slowly
Right.
uh, lowers his head and kind of looks towards the two of you within the room, and he's a little confused that there are people in his office now. And he looks to you, Calder, and he says, "It's been some time since you've been here."
Yeah, I decided now is about the best time of ever to come back, and I have a few questions if you have time. I don't want to interrupt your scrying.
I was just wrapping that up. And he kind of slowly gets up from his seat and kind of moves over to his desk, takes a seat there, and just says, "What is it that I can help you with?"
Well, I have a few questions. I know you'll be able to answer at least some of them.
All right.
So, I know this is probably on everyone's mind. Stag and the war. Do you know any information about the Cardinal that some may not? Or any reasons other than Stag just being war hungry that they would start attacking?
Unfortunately, we're just as blind as everyone else. The only thing that we know for sure, due to a couple of informants in Sarthstag, is no one has seen the Cardinal in some time. He has been missing, essentially, but at the same time still sending out commands.
Okay. Do you know anything about a Lupin named Lumen?
He kind of almost looks a little surprised by the name. Kind of clenches a jaw a little bit and kind of turns away from you for a moment. Just says, "I haven't heard that name in some time."
I know of the story that revolves around him being captured by witches, but all I know it as is a story. If you can put some truth behind those words and elaborate more, I'd love to know what happened to him and how he did the things that he did.
He, the story is almost entirely true. Many of others have been believed that it's just a simple story to ward off people from going to the uh, the swamps and encountering any of the witches uh, of Vandarth, but it is entirely true. For why he was able to cast the magic that he had, we believe, based on what I've been able to find and what others have as well, um, he had a very unorthodox and inhumane method of learning his magic. And due to the lack of humanity behind what he was doing, became very powerful. And I believe the witches saw this as he was probably somewhat affiliated with them and decided to dispose of him to prevent their own destruction.
If you don't mind me asking, what were his ways of learning magic? How can someone learn magic without doing the proper runes and verbal semantic and using resources when needed and regrants and all of that other stuff?
He essentially got a hold of raw arcane magic. Something that only dragons before the calamity ever used and were able to mold. Thing that would normally kill, well, even myself, if used incorrectly. And yet he somehow managed to manipulate it and use it as the way he saw fit. And as well, he did kill many people in order to get the magic that he wanted, often sacrificing them and performing strange rituals to enhance himself.
I see. Okay. Hmm. And so, the magic of dragons. How does that? How do we have? How does he have such access to that type of thing? I thought most dragons were only able to use magic because of their being. How does the arcane differ from you and I to the dragons and I guess Lumen now?
Our magic is a bit more controlled. It has a catalyst and it has some sort of restraint. The magic that the dragons used to use, which there aren't any that I know of, but there's a chance there are one or two that still are alive. That magic has no limits. It's essentially as strong as Lich Hood, but if not stronger but extremely unstable.
I see. Well, okay. My other question is if you've seen or heard of a relic, I guess would be the best way of saying it. It's a black pocket watch. And I saw someone use it once. We were chasing after him. He picked it up, used it to blast us away, rendering us unconscious. And before I fell, I saw him open a rift and jump through. Is there such magical items that do that? Or is this something of his own volition?
This is something extremely unique that I've not had the opportunity to hear about before now. And what it sounds like is it's a sort of divine artifact of sorts. Something that a god created and let slip into our world to enable mortals to get a hold of the powers of which the gods have.
I see. Okay.
There are a few, if you are curious, there are relics like this running around that we do know of. One of which is a relic made by the god Fluke, a lightning rod of sorts that allows the holder to cast very powerful lightning magics at the cost of their own well-being.
Hmm. And where would that sort of thing be? Is it here in the college, or do we just know its whereabouts?
We know it exists and we've watched for it, but we have not. The last time it was ever seen was somewhere in the Outlands. We don't know where it went after that. And that was several years ago.
I see. Well, hmm. Other than that, I do have. Hmm. I'm trying to think of what I want to show him.
The questions, the questions.
I know, I know, I know, I know. All right, I'll ask him. So other than that, I do have another question about an item that I've seen. It was some sort of runic tattoo gun that used raw gems to imbue magical properties onto a user.
Yes, I've heard of such magical items in the past.
Do you know its origin? I've asked the current user, her name Galnova. Um,
He kind of smiles at the name.
I met her a few weeks ago, and we've parted ways. She's still helping Almoria in its war efforts, but I met her and I saw the tattoo gun, and I was wondering if I could find its owner or original creator, just to see if we can make a copy.
The the only person that I've ever seen other than her with one, um, which he has graciously assisted some of our students with some of the abilities from them. The only person I've ever seen have one was the Archmage of Almoria, Zeldrif. But he's kept a lot of his things under lock and key and has prevented, well, anyone from getting a hold of them due to reasonings of attempting to keep things from destroying civilizations.
I understand. I actually met with Zeldrif as well. We actually were at his tower last, and I was talking to him about Sarthstag and some things. I actually studied a little bit in his library. He has a lot of interesting things.
He does. It seems you are quite lucky to be able to get to his tower. That is a thing that doesn't happen to most of us. He's quite secretive with what he does and what he has. I've only ever been there once, and it was him who brought me there. It was for a quick discussion and demonstration before he brought me back.
Gotcha. I do think the last thing that I have a question about is if you've ever heard of a dragon being transmuted into some sort of crystal-like structure.
Gives you kind of a puzzled look. He just shakes his head and says that is something very odd that I've not had the privilege of hearing in the past.
Well, it might as well just be easier to show you, and I'll take out the dragon familiar, and I'll like lift it up and let it just sit there.
Both him and your father both like look at this thing like
Like,
kids in a
what the
candy
fuck?
store. These are
I'll
these are two researchers who are seeing an opportunity of research appear before them and are literally fangirling. It would be the essentially on the inside of just like, holy shit, this is something super cool that like we've never seen before.
yeah. I'll basically tell them I'll be like, yeah, so I can cast through it like a
Familiar.
what's it called? Yeah, familiar or a what's it called? What's the thing?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The
Focus. Focus.
focus. Yeah, thank you. I was like, what is it called? Yeah, I can cast through it like a focus, and I can move it around, and it actually changes colors based off of what spell type I'm using. So I'd love to have you all research it as well, but this is one of the only copies.
Kind of gives you a nod, like not taking his eyes off this thing, and just
I do, however, have a few shards left over. So if you wish to do research on your own, I have I have a few left over that I'd be willing to let you have.
that that would be wonderful. And may I ask, did you find this artifact, or did someone create this?
So I actually found the shards near the Black Watch when I got this rune, and I'll kind of like flash the Oculi rune and then brush it off like nothing happened, and be like, yeah. And so like we found these after after the dragon got just basically destroyed by the man with the black pocket watch I was referring to, and when he left through the rift and we all woke up from being unconscious, we all that was left was the shards, and I took as many as I could carry.
Fascinating. And he kind of gestures to your wrist and he says, "That rune. What does that do?" Because I've not
Oh,
seen that one before.
so I did a little bit of research with a friend of the prince and the king of Grandhelm, and it is called Oculi, and it gives me prophecies or sort of dreams of the future, I guess. And it's blurry and doesn't always have to occur, but it does help with a few things, and it has helped in the past. So on occasion, I will see into the future, and the further away it is, the more hazy it is, but it helps kind of understand what is about to happen, and I can prepare accordingly.
Fascinating. When this war is over and you get the chance, I would love to spend some time to do some of the some research on these things.
Of course, I told father as well that any free time that I have, I actually have been taking notes of all the adventures I've been having, and I'll be able to let you all go through them and transcribe them into a. I was thinking a book of some sorts, just to explain some things that I've seen.
You see his eyes kind of light up, that same kind of like look of like
Kid in a
internally
candy
like
store.
freaking the hell out, like oh my god, there's so much cool shit here, but at the same time he's very composed about it though. At the same time,
Yeah,
and he said that would be lovely, um, and once this war is finished, we can focus all the time that we need on these things, like we used
of
to
course.
before Sarthstag decided to be aggressive. Um,
Right.
and who you said somebody created this item that you carry, this familiar of sorts. It, would you mind me asking of who?
Yeah, he's actually the owner of the magic shop in Grandhelm, Divian.
Tyrion. I've heard the
He's
name before. I might have to give
oh,
him a
is he
visit one day.
some sort of famous person?
No, we've just had a few students that have found themselves in Grandhelm and said that he was very helpful with the things that they were looking for.
Of course.
Seems to be one that greatly enjoys doing research with others and sharing information.
Yeah. He actually is a little bit more in tune with his familiar. He can actually summon a baby dragon with it. I can do no such thing yet, but I feel like I would spend some time manifesting with the familiar that I'll soon be able to do a little bit more than that.
He gives you a nod, and the excitement is slowly breaking through this very composed look that he's been trying to hold. He kind of gives you a nod, and thinks over everything for a moment, and just says, "All right, is there anything else?"
Um, hmm. For now, no, no more questions. But while I am here, if you don't mind, I'd love to take a look at some of the spells that you all have. I have been, practicing a little bit of real world experience, so I have kind of developed a little bit more skill than when you've last seen me. So I'd love to take a look at some of the things that you guys might be able to teach me.
And we're gonna real quick DM to player. What spells are you wanting to look for specifically through these individuals?
Hold on. Obviously, create homunculus now. I think I have to look through the ones that I don't have.
Which is the
So
restriction list.
yeah, I know. Let me actually just go find the restriction list that you sent me. Goddamn
I will
bitch.
say they won't be able to teach you any kind of dunamancy because they aren't experts in that. But
Yes, but they'll help me. Hmm. Uh, let's see.
you should.
6th level instant summon. Oh god, that has 1,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, most of these high level spells are expensive. I'm gonna throw that out there. A lot of the ones that I've put on the list also have very large
God,
costs.
god damn, bro! Why is everything in the thousands?
Because by 6th
Okay,
level you're
alright,
making money.
Magic Cum Jar is only 500, so
Magic comb jar, god damn it.
it's literally just Magic Jar. I love it so much. Okay, yeah, let's just go to the 5th level spells, I guess.
You don't know polymorph, right?
No, I'd like to learn Conjure Elemental. Is that Creation? Yeah, Creation. Uh, what is Dance Macabre? I don't know what that is. Infernal Calling. Planner Binding. Rory's Telepathic Bond. Summon. That actually I don't think is supposed to be there.
Any of the dragon type spells are
Yeah,
not.
yeah, I know. I was like, that's probably gonna be a dragon familiar thing. Yeah, so Conjure Elemental and what's the other one?
Polymorph
Infernal
probably.
Calling. What?
Polymorph probably.
Yeah, what level is that? I don't
Fourth.
see it.
It's
Is that
fourth level.
fourth? Okay, yeah. Polymorph as well. Oh, Banishment.
I would say in the time that they probably have with you, banishment, polymorph. I will let you get conjure elemental.
Fuck yes. Banishment, learn. Polymorph, learn.
Those would be the three you'd be able to get in this time. Is there anything else you're going to ask them, and how long are you spending in Pithrin?
Uh,
You must
I.
ask.
Oh god. I don't know actually. That's a good question. I want more spells, so I might stay a little bit. But I can also just go to Zeldrif. He'll probably also have so many spells. Yeah, so
Well, let's focus on
man,
this first day. What else do you want to do on this
yeah.
first day? Because you've been
Okay,
there probably. By
a
this
few hours.
point, it would be you'd probably be about mid-afternoon by the time you finish these conversations.
Okay.
Was there
I
any
guess
other
I'll go
questions you wanted to
find.
ask your father, though, or the headmaster? Because I have something written, but I don't know if you remember what you sent me.
Well, let me just look at what I sent you.
There's one question that I had listed that you have not asked, and I don't want to say it out loud, just in case you
You
decide
bitch.
you didn't want to ask
You
it.
bitch. I do. I probably just forgot.
Here you go. I'll give you. It's three. Oh, that's Zoob's page. I've been sending Zoob weird Elden Ring videos. The last one I sent him was one that I came across
Oh yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
Glar.
yeah, 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 yeah. That, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask. I guess I can ask my dad about the siblings, but first, I remembered this one. I'm gonna ask about the 10-year gap.
The 10-year gap. All right.
5 year, 10 year.
It's 5 year.
I
5 year.
5 year gap. Yeah,
You've been gone
5 year
for
gap.
10 years, but in that 10 years, you have
Fucking
a 5 year gap.
where you were like, oh, you don't remember anything for 5 whole years, and no one knows anything about anything except for this one lady that, poof, she's gone across the continent, and you can't fucking chase her because you're in the middle of a quest. I hate you. I hate you so much. You irk me. I hate it.
It's called a hooking point. I got you.
You know
Hooked.
how to push my buttons. That's what it is.
I know how to hook you into a game, so you want to keep going.
Ooh, look at all this information that you'll never be able to get, so keep coming back every other week for shopping episodes and fighting. Ah, I hate it.
Love that.
And getting your whole current coin purse stolen, that shit pissed me off. I had like 3 grand gone immediately. Like my current money, 200 gold. I need money. I honestly am about to ask like Calder's parent for some allowance. Like, hey, Dad, I'm running a little low.
So you did get that money back, so you did end up spending that money later on, but
Well, yeah.
at the time, I know you were pissed because you're like, I'm about to go shopping. Where's my
Everything
money?
is so expensive. It's they're like, yeah, I'll pay for it, and you're just like, well, you haven't checked for your coin purse in a while. I
You're
don't
like,
think I'd have to say that I do
fuck.
that. You have no money. It's just like,
Well, then
well,
I've made Caleb paranoid that he's always checking his.
yeah, he's checking it in other campaigns too, because he thinks that someone else is gonna DM and do that. Like, you made us paranoid. I hate you.
I gave him PTSD.
Yes, you
That's
really
fantastic.
did. Tara gave me PTSD. I still can't trust any of your NPCs anymore.
That's for the best.
Like, oh, NPC that's been following you guys since session fucking 0 steals from you, backstabs you, literally kills you.
You guys didn't have his. You never really truly knew his backstory, so like, you guys didn't know him that well. These characters you guys know well, but
Yeah, I've put the time to it. God damn.
okay though.
So, 5-year gap. See if he knows anything about anything.
Are you asking your dad or
The both of them while I'm
the
still in the
both of
room.
them?
Hold on, I'm gonna open up my Obsidian notes and look at. Yeah, 5-year gap. Okay, does Calder know anything about this?
The 5-year
I
gap.
think so. I think so. I have written down an entity was running around Tiberia described as a devil, devil-ish individual making deals and playing around with mortals during and mainly after the gap. People who should be dead were making reappearances, and a strange arcane influx in the mountains of Valmoria that vanished.
Yes. You've learned those things.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, does Calder know that, or do I know that? I don't want to metagame.
Calder knows about. It was told about the influx. He was told about. I think it
I
was.
think he was told about the entity as
He
well.
had a vision of the entity. He doesn't
Right,
know
yeah,
that it
yeah,
was
yeah,
running
yeah.
around. He just knows he's seen
Yeah.
it. And then the people that were supposedly dead reappearing. Um, that one he doesn't know about, but he has heard instances of such things happening, but doesn't know if it's
Yeah.
associated to the 5-year gap.
Right, right, right. All right, so I'll
Okay.
ask about the devilish individual and the arcane influx then. I'm not gonna roleplay. I'm tired of
Okay.
roleplaying.
So I'll give you the shtick. Neither of the, so they've heard the rumors about the devilish individual running around. They've heard a name thrown around with this individual, and they're not entirely sure if it's true or if it's some sort of fable or whatever. They've heard the name Lucian get thrown around several times.
Spell that Lucian.
Yeah, you spelled it perfectly. They mention that there's been people who have uh, people have gone missing upon interacting with this individual, as well as people have come back with very luxurious items such as golden instruments and magical enchantments on things. And a number of the people who have been interacting with this individual are musicians of some sort. It seemed to be the common theme of who he interacts with.
Wow, I just butchered how to spell musicians.
You got Lucian right, but you can't spell
Why do I have
musicians.
an L? Okay. God, I'm illiterate. Alright, people who
You're
typically interact with this person are musicians, and they either disappear.
or return with magical items or enchantments of sorts.
Return with magical items / enchantments.
And for the magical influx you were talking about, was the next one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They mention that it was something on their radar, and when they went to go check on what it was, they had issues finding the source due to some sort of uh, arcane aura within the mountains that was making it difficult for them to track anything. Also causing a lot of their arcane instruments to malfunction. And they ended up giving up on the endeavor because it was
Too much.
a waste of time, essentially. No results for the amount of time they spent, and they felt like it was a waste, and they were losing crucial money and time out of it.
Shmoney. Okay. I guess. Oh, pizza's here. I'll get that in a second. All right.
Pizza time.
I guess at this point, I hate that you just made a pizza time reference.
I had to.
I guess after this, Calder will thank the headmaster and start walking and talking to his dad
Mm-hmm.
to see if he wants to come along to find his mom, Persephone.
He would accept to kind of get away from his own work for a bit. Kind of give you time,
Also,
considering that you are, in town out of the blue, and he doesn't
yeah,
know when he's going to see you again.
I heard. Oh, thank you. So
Pizza time.
while walking and talking, Calder will ask about his siblings that he had no fucking idea about, and that his sister came out of nowhere in Greyborough and found him.
You see him go a little pale when you mention them,
Damn,
and
the side hose cut
yeah,
out.
and he kind of clenches his jaw a little bit, and then he kind of like walking a few feet with you, and then kind of like lets out a sigh and just says, he says, "It was inevitable that you'd find out eventually."
Why
And
would you hide such a thing from me?
it at the time didn't seem important. It
Quest.
was something that we knew could possibly interfere with the education we were giving you and the training that you were getting. And considering me and your mother aren't the greatest with emotional attachments due to our obsession of magic,
Mm-hmm.
we felt that it would be best if you didn't know, or they didn't as well. Your sister was never meant to find out, but she, upon getting irritated with me at one point, as she had been living, well, she'd been living with another family, and I had to visit on occasion to see her in the Darkwind docks. She lived with a fishing family, and occasionally I would visit and see how she was doing. And roughly around the time that you were getting ready to go off and do your own studies, she had broken into my office and stolen some notes from me and fled. Finding out about your two brothers as well, became extremely irritated with me and swore she would get back at me one day, which I don't blame her. But I also don't look forward to the day that she decides to come back.
I see. Well, what do my brothers do?
The I should probably start from the beginning. There were four of you, each of a different element. You already know that Jasmine is the water ganassi of the group. Um, Drift was the air ganassi that was produced from the spell, who ended up in Almoria with a good friend of mine, who was testing magic revolving around the aging process and trying to accelerate and reverse aging. and he ended up getting caught in the crossfire of an experiment and aged rapidly. But
Drift did, or
drift, yes. And he ended up, after that, being released from the wizard, who felt quite bad for it and ended up going into training with some drow he met to become an Echo Knight.
wow.
And as for Talisman, the Earth Ganassi of you lot, he he was sent to Almoria as well, where he was raised by a family who took very good care of him, based on what I know from checking in, before he decided that he wanted to do adventuring and ended up, well, falling to a camp of raiders, or a band of raiders. I believe that happened in Tiberia because him and the party that he joined were going there in search of something.
I see. Then that just leaves me, Jasmine, and Drift. Then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Last I heard
Okay.
about Jasmine, she's the crew of I believe a ship of some sort. She mentioned when she sent me a message that it was the kind of crew she'd been looking for, whatever that meant. But she didn't give me the details,
Mm-hmm.
though I don't blame her.
I see. Well, I, at least I know now. I don't blame you, but I just wish I would have known a little earlier. That's all.
Yes, I'm sorry for keeping this from you for so long, but well, it only seemed right at the time.
I understand. Well, let's keep going, I guess. And Connor will kind of like walk in silence from then on out to try and find his mom.
So you guys end up going through one of the kind of portals leading to, uh, which actually she would have been, based on what your dad had told you, and you'd be able to navigate here. She would have been in the Darkwind ports, or the Darkwind docks, um, and kind of moving around this very nice, large kind of, well, dock city, with the docks
Mm-hmm.
being uh, filled with various ships, some very large, others a bit smaller, looking to be your typical uh, fishing vessel. Um, it takes you some time. It's probably near almost sunset when
Evening.
you do find
Yeah.
her. She is located kind of like in one of the bigger parts of the docks where the large ships are that seem to be kind of moving uh, various crates and what look to be um, various arcane ballistics
Ooh. Damn.
into one of the larger ships. That seems to edge, and you recognize the ship because it's one of the bigger ones of this port.
Mm.
You recognize it due to the protective warding that is kind of set around the ship. That what you remember from your father telling you all those years ago, the warding was made to protect it against standard cannon fire and some spells.
Mm. Cool. I'll approach and say, "Hey, long time no see, mom."
And she pauses for a moment as she was like in the middle of saying something to someone. She turns to you, and you see her kind of freeze for a moment. She hands the person the little, almost essentially a clipboard that she had in her hand. Hands them the papers and the clipboard essentially, and then just comes over to you like kind of slow, kind of in a hurry, and she just kind of like embraces you. Doesn't say a
Uh-huh.
word. She's just kind of seems to be a bit in shock by your sudden appearance.
Right.
She's kind of holds you close for a moment. Do you say anything during this time?
I'll say, well, I missed you too, as I like embrace back, I guess.
Mm-hmm. She
I
kind of
just came to
oh, say what you're gonna say.
I just came to stop by. I know that you're busy and I don't want to interrupt anything. I just came into the city just for a little bit of information. I need to start getting back to my party. I've been adventuring. Dad can try and fill you in on some of the stuff that I have told him, but only a quick visit. I time is a very valuable resource, and right
Mm-hmm.
now I am lacking. So.
She kind of like doesn't quite step away from you, but kind of like moves out of the embrace just to have her hands like on your shoulders, kind of thing. And
Mhm.
she just says, "It's good to know that you're safe after everything that we've heard going on in Almoria. Um,
Well,
and it's good to hear that you have allies with you."
I've made a good group of friends. I trust them with my back as they do with theirs, so I'm happy with where I'm at.
She kind of gives you a nod and makes a gesture over to the person with the that she handed the papers to, who kind of just like gives her like a half bow and then quickly walks off to some others.
Mhm,
And she as she kind of like turns back to you and she just says, "So you're here for information, you said.
mhm. I
Did
talked to the headmaster and with father as well, just about a few things that are happening around. And I just like kind of gesture to the boats being filled with ammunition, just trying to get a little bit of knowledge about why this is happening.
Yes, it seems to be quite the mystery to most of us. We don't know. We don't quite understand what those Sarthdagians are up to. It can never be anything good."
Yeah, but I just came to let you know that I'm alive and doing well, and I should really get going. It's starting to get a little late. I need to settle down for the night.
She gives you a nod and says, "Well, it it was good to see you." And
I'll let you all know, both you and Dad, whenever I have time to come back. I'll definitely stop for a visit just to be back home for some time.
yes, word of warning next time would be great, but it is good to see you just kind of out of the blue as well.
Well, you know me. I'll kind of embrace her again and start to walk away back to Calder Dad.
Calder Dad. All right,
Dadder.
Dadder. All right, you go back to him after she kind of she kind of watches you walk away for a moment before someone kind of comes up to her and asks her something, and she immediately goes back into work mode.
Mhm. I'll be like, well, I should get going. I know my way around. I'll probably teleport to a circle back home and spend the night there
All right.
just to settle a little bit of this information that I've been given.
He kind of gives you a nod and says, "Well, if you need anything, just let us know."
I know where to find you if I have to, and I'll kind of like do the handshake embrace thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then start walking over to a little empty spot and do a ritual cast teleport circle to Zildrif's castle
Okay. He doesn't really move from his spot. He just kind of watches you and seems to
for
be doing.
10 minutes.
There's no, not for the whole time, but he watches you for a minute. Like a good portion of this, he's sitting there thinking and he's watching you, and he kind of like in the middle of like about probably 6 minutes into this, kind of lets out like a sigh, and almost seems to you know your father well enough. Almost seems to be wishing he did things differently, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
walks off and kind of disappears into the crowd, leaving you to complete your teleportation circle. And I assume you're going back to Zeldrift's home.
Yep.
Okay. You blamp back in, onto the. I want to say it's the 7th floor. Let me double check. Yes. Yes, the 7th floor. Which you did know about the teleportation circle about.
Yeah.
Are you? What are you going to do once you get here?
Well, it's nighttime, so
Mhm.
I'll see if Zeldriff is around, and then if he isn't, I'll go to bed. If he is, I'll just ask him what I missed, what the party is up to, and if they have any messages for me.
Okay. You head down to kind of the library of where you'd seen his copies, as well as the bald elven individual walking around,
Bolt, bolt.
who looks very similar to like Garrison,
Yeah,
his like disguise appearance. And you go down there and you find only the 2 copies and the dude that he took prisoner from, who attempted to assassinate the prince, who's now working for him.
yeah,
You
yeah.
Yeah, you find them within the
Still don't
library,
trust the guy.
but you don't see him anywhere.
Mhm.
Um, you do also
I'll
see
ask.
well, one second. You do also see the mirror that you had let him borrow hung up on a wall.
That's where he is. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I will. I'll peruse his library for a little bit to see if he'll come out, and then if it gets too late, just go to bed.
Okay.
I am looking for, and I'll roll investigation for this.
Yeah, let's roll investigation. What are you looking for
I'm
specifically? That'll determine the DC.
I'm looking for a humanoid hide patched book, like in Garrison's library.
Oh, you're looking
Or,
for like a Necronomica.
yep, yeah. Or I'll be looking for any historic tome, like the one that had Lumen's story in it,
Hmm.
just to see if there's any like deep lore stuff that I can grab right now.
Okay, I have two. I have two DCs. If you hit one of them, you get both. But
All right. For one, my
well, it's
passive
it's one.
investigation.
It's going to be one roll for both DCs.
I
Is what
know,
I'm doing. Okay.
but my passive investigation is a 17. Does
Okay.
that pass either of them?
I want you to roll first, and we'll just go with the highest.
Okay. Oh, 23.
23. You do find a historic tome. You do not find a Necronomica of any kind.
That's what I thought.
Um, you do find this historic tome, though, that very nice, like leather bound book. Um, that seems to have like it seems to be like embroidered, not embroidered. What's the word? What do you do with leather? Is it embroider? No, it's not.
Stone?
It's not
Like
sewn.
it's
Like burned into it, I guess, or like what is it called? What is that? What is that called? When you like
branding.
branding, you like, or that may not be it, but like this book that the leather is kind of like has letters pressed into it and painted in or whatever, like very nice looking
Like a
text.
pressed leather?
Yeah, like pressed leather. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, that it simply says like on it. I had it in my goddamn head. Now it's gone. Shit.
Ratioed.
Ratioed by my own brain. No, it's like essentially you get the idea that this is like uncommon history or like some sort of like it's a history book of like our tome of like information a lot of people don't know about, like hidden
Okay.
histories or stuff like that. And taking it to one of the tables and kind of going through it for a
It has the letters CIA, whatever that
CIA,
means.
yeah, classified, stamped across the front of it.
Warning, do not open. Damn, I'm dying to see what's inside this one.
Yeah. But you open this book and you kind of like spend some time to go through it, and you do find very similar information to what um, Garrison had shown you. uh, as well as kind of
Similar.
there's like a few pictures that seem to be drawn in of like supposed to be depicting this Lupin's magic, his blood magic, and they are very graphic images, to say the least. There is a one of the pictures in particular that you see is a literal picture of someone being turned inside out as he kind of is
Yeah.
just holding a hand up, blood dripping from his fingers within this picture. Like very detailed graphic images done in like charcoal.
Damn, we got some fucking artists.
Yes.
It is magic though, so okay.
Yeah, it is magic. So like it's
Um,
probably magic that was used to make these images, but you know.
yeah. Are there any signs of runes, descriptions of his magic, any reasoning behind his magic?
There is a mention of uh, an entity that possibly worked with him that is believed to be a draconic entity of sorts. Um, and this entity, there's not a name that's mentioned. Only the only thing that's kind of mentioned is this individual seems to be a ancestor of a lot of powerful dragons. Whether they are a dragon themselves or something else is unknown, but they seem to be related to a lot of powerful dragons that have been either slain within the last few years or that are still alive that are known to be alive.
Okay. Do I have a list of those dragons that are known to be alive?
You would have some names, yes. Let me pull up my names. The names you would get, um, they don't mention specifically what breed of dragons these are. But some of the names you
Uh-huh.
do get is Gleishmere, the
Just
Blizzard.
post it. I will
Yeah,
not be able to
yeah.
spell
I'll
this
give you.
shit.
I'll post them to you. I'll post them to you at some point. But it's Gleishmere, the
Okay.
Blizzard. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna copy the ones that I give you because I'm not giving you all the dragon names because some of them are not
Right.
powerful.
I'm
You
like
get.
dragging my nuts across your face, alright?
I'll end your life. Um,
I'm funny.
I'm funny. Yeah. You get Gleishmere, the Blizzard. You get Scatter Grathgalad. Oh my god! I didn't make some of these names, by the way. These were given to me, but I'm gonna give you that. And then you also see oh fuck. What is it? Was it? I know the name. I
That's
know the
weird.
name. I have it. It's not
Fuck,
with
fuck, fuck. That's an odd name
yeah.
for a dragon.
Fuck. uh. No! Don't do this to me now. I think this is
Name redacted.
name redacted. Yes, that's the one. I know her name. Give me a second. It's separated from my notes for some reason. I have to go into a different notes page in order to find it.
hmm
And it is right here. Serena Turneroth. Fuck. That's a name I made, but I can't pronounce words worth of shit. Yeah, Serena Turnanoth. Um, and the last one is Distillo. And I
Why
got
didn't you open with that one? That one's easy.
because I wanted that to be the last one.
Okay.
But Distillo is the last name that is mentioned on the list.
Okay.
And these entities that you their names are just mentioned in like passing, like describing this entity or whatever, and there's not a huge allotment of detail.
God damn you
But
and your fucking PNGs that I can't copy. I hate you.
it's because of OneNote. It's not my fault. I want to give you
I don't
text.
care.
You know the process it would take me to make that into text? It's ridiculous. I just don't do it. I'm sorry.
Let me just copy these. Hold on. Keep talking.
But yeah, you don't get much detail other than that about these individuals.
Okay.
Now, I will say, on the topic of dragons, you did pass by, while going through the book, I'd say Calder would have gotten this with the investigation check. You did pass by a little description of a black dragon by the name of Letterbill, who seems to be known for running a sort, and this is a, it seems to be known for running a sort of like black market ring, and has been there's history of him uh, trading with very powerful mages, giving them magical equipment, and this one is actually in text, giving them magical
Oh,
equipment
finally.
that allows like he's given them equipment strictly to monitor them, and also has given some mages equipment that have malfunctioned and killed the mage because he did that on purpose. Like he purposely sabotaged certain relics to be deadly to the user.
Good God. Finally, I can copy paste.
The only one.
Yeah. Guthgaland Scattered. Like, who makes these names?
I don't remember who gave me that one. The other ones are legible. It's just that one. I don't know who gave it to me. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Anyways,
Then Distillo.
Distillo.
Not too else. Okay. Alright.
And in that time,
After
Zeldrift
reading...
does not return, I will say.
That's fine. Yeah. Calder will just go ahead and go to bed.
Okay.
He will also, upon going to bed, try to contact. I think Zoob has the.
Renshi?
No,
You don't know
no.
Renshi.
Zeldrift has the Sending Stone. Fuck.
Zeldrift has the Sending Stone. If you check the description, does it say it can be sent across planes?
Let me check. It doesn't say. Hold on. It just uses the sending spell. Let me check the sending spell.
I think the sending spell allows you to. Actually, no, it has. I think it's same plane.
Even to other planes of existence, but if the target is on a different plane than you, there is a 5% chance that the message doesn't arrive.
All right. Roll.
Oh
roll.
no!
Do your message. Tell me what your message is. I'm gonna roll a check. Okay.
All right, I have 25 words or less.
Yes.
I will say, I am back from my adventure. Staying here tonight. We'll catch up tomorrow before leaving. I think that's less than 5.
There's a pause, and you assume it's because he's in the mirror, and the response you get back is kind of strange. You almost hear his voice like 3 or 4 times in your head. But the one that you hear the best says, having a bit of trouble, will be back soon. Don't be surprised if I look odd.
What is that supposed to mean? Hold on, pause, what?
And you do hear from the other voices. You hear one. The message is, it's not, it's almost, you can't understand the words
Like
being
mumbled.
said, but it sounds like pain and agony. There's another one that seems to be yelling in rage. There's one that seems sorrowful, and you don't know what's going on. Like there seems to be different emotional states within voices, but the other voices you just don't quite understand. It's just the one that was talking to you that seemed to be normal
Oh,
that
okay.
mentioned that to you.
Cool.
Bedtime?
Pause.
Pause.
I used telepathic bond on the party before leaving, right?
No.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I don't think you did.
It only lasts an hour anyways. Yeah, you're right. Fuck.
You didn't.
Ugh, balls. Ugh. Okay,
Bedtime?
it's bedtime.
Okay. You go to sleep.
You have a dream. Go fuck yourself.
Guess what?
God damn it.
You have a vision that you've had multiple times in the past. Seeing a crater within the mountains, a tower within the crater, hearing that music once more. And you also, before the vision ends, you do see that silhouette that you had seen standing at a table, kind of looking over stuff. And unlike times before, you see them actually. They seem to be talking. You don't quite understand what they're saying, but they seem to pause. And you see the silhouette kind of turn, and you see a set of golden yellow eyes look at you before uh, hearing a very familiar voice, the one that you would recognize as Titus, say, "It seems he might be coming our way."
See a pair of golden what
Golden
eyes?
yellow.
Yellow. Yeller.
He says, "It seems he may be coming our way." And the music stops, and you wake up.
It seems he may be coming our way. Coming?
Stop. And you wake up the next morning. I assume you're looking for Zeldrif.
Yeah, before I leave.
Okay. You head up into the library again. You see one of his copies standing by a door, speaking with that amethyst dragonborn that you had seen the first day that you had arrived. The one that you. Did she tell you her name?
No, I don't think so, unless it's in my notes somewhere.
I think the rest of the party knows her name. I'm pretty certain. Let me check my own notes. Let's see if she did tell you her name.
No.
It seems she did not mention her name. Interesting.
Fuck, I forgot what I wanted to do during this adventure. Damn it, man, I missed a part that I wanted to do. Fuck.
What was it?
Okay, I can do that later. I wanted to go talk to Darlic personally. Bitch.
Oh,
I had that.
we can retcon something into this at some point before.
No,
it
it's
ends.
fine. I wouldn't even know what to ask him because
you
it
don't have a
looked like
teleportation circle there, anyways, or anymore
yeah.
because the tower was destroyed.
Yeah. Fuck.
You'll get your chance at some point. Anyways, you find the amethyst dragonborn and amethyst dragonborn and one of his Zeldrif's copies standing before one of the kind of private chambers within this library, speaking to one another. And as you kind of like make your way over there, you see the one individual, the human that had been captured by Zeldrif
Slave.
or taken by Zeldrif.
You can just call it a slave.
Slave, sure. It's not quite a slave, but servant is a better term.
Indentured servitude.
Servant.
Sorry, let's add a little cherry on top.
It's just a servant would be his title. coming out with what seems to be an empty tray that seemed to probably have had food on it as well as maybe other items as well.
Breakfast.
Yeah, and he seems to like come out and move past these two and kind of head for the staircase. Kind of passing you as he walks, trying to keep his eyes away from you.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
I'll ask them like, "Hey, is Zeldrif around?" Kind of looking at the copy and being like, "I don't think that's the right one."
The copy kind of looks at you and just says, "He's currently within the chamber. Um, he's recovering from something, but if you wish to see him," and he kind of gestures towards the door, he says, "I'm sure he won't mind speaking with you. He did mention to let you in if you did come by."
I just wanted to talk before leaving to catch up to the party. So I don't really care what he looks like, battered, bruised. You know, doesn't mean anything to me. I'll kind of like walk around the two, kind of creak and like slivers through the door, the crack
Mm-hmm.
in the door or whatever. So
As you kind of move past them, the amethyst dragonborn kind of she she holds all like a very what's the pose that I would be thinking of? It's like
disdain.
no, the pose she's you know how like some women have that like that stance and it's almost seductive but it's not, just like the way they stand. think of
I
think
thought
of
you were gonna
think of
go
the
for
no
RBF.
think
I
of
was
the
like, what?
think of how the chick from the big vampire lady stands in Resident Evil 7.
Oh my
That's the kind of
god!
stance she's holding. That's the only character I can think of that has this stance off the top of my fucking head.
God damn.
She's kind of holding like that stance, and she's like kind of watching you very closely as you pass by. And like upon like looking towards her, you do see that she does look to be a very intelligent individual. You also notice there are a couple of runes kind of carved into her flesh,
Ugh.
and they seem to be this. The runes themselves seem to be a white color against these amethyst scales.
Do I recognize any of the runes
The
on my
only one that
glance?
you can identify for sure is there seems to be one that is for Death Ward.
Hmm, cool.
But she kind of
All
watches
right.
you closely as you go to the store and kind of her silvery white eyes making very close examination of you without getting anywhere close to you. And as you kind of like, you do notice as well that inside, like when you look into her eyes as well, the pupils of her eyes, instead of just being like pitch black, they seem to almost have the appearance of almost like the cosmos within them, almost this starry, swirling sky within her eyes, sort of thing, as she kind of watches you.
You're putting all this information into this character. I'm not taking any
Oh
notes,
no,
by
no,
the
no! You
way.
don't have
So
to. I
if
have the notes.
if she's important, Calder whoosh over his head.
Completely ignored.
Yeah, like cool, bro. I'm just here for Zeldrift, not you.
Yeah, and you okay? So you push through the door. You
Yeah.
find the chamber's been kind of rearranged a bit. Um, this chair with its back to the door, and you see that Zeldrif eating something. You can't quite see him, but you can see his hands kind of reaching for a plate and eating. You do also notice that as his hands kind of his hands almost seem ever so slightly displaced,
Ugh.
as if you almost see images of his hands shifting around the actual form of himself.
Mhm.
He kind of pauses after he hears the door close behind you and just says, and once again, you hear the multiple voices, but you hear one in particular that seems to come through clear. He says, "Is that Calder that came in?"
Yes, sir.
I did
What
some
is up with...
I did some research about your mirror, and it seems he kind of slowly kind of glances around the chair or whatever. And as he's doing this, you see um, it's bizarre. You see his face as it was before. He doesn't look all that injured. There's a couple of cuts and bruises on his like underneath his feathers and stuff like that. A few kind
Mhm.
of wrappings and bandages on him. But there's also these almost corporeal forms of himself that seem to be displacing around him, of like
Mhm.
different emotional states. Like you see like it's almost as if watching someone, you know those movies where it's like someone going crazy and you see them like moving
Yeah.
rapidly. It's like that, and you're seeing all these different emotions all at once, but then you're also seeing him just there, and it's strange and bizarre. And he says, "It seems that little mirror of yours has a few secrets that were a little painful, to say the
I
least."
see. Well, I hope that they didn't cause all of what's going on over there. Um, what did you figure out?
the The mirror itself is outside of any plane that I've ever encountered, and seems to work off its own set of rules. One of which being the movement of time is strange within the place, and it seems to prevent any sort of time alteration within its barriers. As well, there seems to be an entity, and you see him uh, pick up the strange shard off of the table kind of that the food was sitting on. You didn't quite notice the shard upon coming in, but now that he's kind of holding it up, you are noticing the shard, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's familiar in a way. And he says there seems to have been something within that maze that doesn't quite sit well when it hits you.
Right, we fought that, didn't we?
You ran from it. You
Yeah,
escaped it without getting touched.
yeah.
He says it it is the cause of this. And he kind of gestures to himself. And he
Hmm.
says it took quite a bit of work to wear down. And it's not dead, but it was vastly injured. And he kind of, you see him kind of motion to like, to another table that's a few feet from him that you see like a scroll laid out upon. He says, "There are
Mm.
details there you wish to read." He kind of turns back to his meal for a second and kind of pushes it aside and kind of slowly gets to his feet. And you see, like, it's he looks like physically, he looks like he's just partially like beaten and bruised. It's just
Mhm.
this additional corporeal effect that seems to be causing some sort of issue, and it seems to be weighing on him in some way, almost weakening him.
Mhm.
So his movements seem to be a bit slower than normal, but he does seem to be
Right.
fine for the most part.
Okay.
He kind of like as he kind of gets up, and kind of slowly moves over to the table or whatever, and sets down the shard into a small box and kind of closes the box.
What was that shard that you had? Was that from the monster?
It was a piece of it. It was the shard that was, well, the one that caused the effects you see on me now, and I need to do research on it at some point.
I see. Well, please keep me informed of that.
and gives you kind of a slight nod before kind of coughing several times, shuddering a little bit, taking a seat at this table or whatever. And as he kind of sits down, he almost seems winded, and he kind of leans against against the table for a moment and just kind of slips into thought a little bit, almost remembering the exact encounter in his head. Is there anything you would like to do during this time?
Sorry, I was typing. Yeah. So I'll basically look at the scroll and then tell him that, like, all right, well, keep me updated. We still have those sending stones, but I probably think it's due time that I should be returning to the rest of the party.
He kind of gives you a nod, and upon looking at the scroll too, you do see there is a what you would assume to be a magically created image of
Image.
this entity, which you do kind of
Right.
recognize. It's kind of this strange, like dark mass that looks to be made of something similar to glass, which is those shards. And
Yeah.
the
Right.
thing has you remember this. It was like a six-legged entity with no visible head, just like it seemed to just be legs
Hmm.
of some sort, and it seemed to crawl at a rapid pace, almost like a spider, like pursuing something.
Hmm.
Um, and you see some of the details in it. You see he's mentioned like there's a note about um, fracturing an individual, and you see he's kind of marked mind, soul, and uh, mind, soul, and body.
Hmm.
And he said like in the notes he shows that like he believes he has experienced a shattering of the body, and based on his research, the side effects should pass, but he has no idea how long.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool. Glad we ran from that shit.
Would have been very interesting.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure didn't like Anton say like fucking run? Like
Yeah,
don't
Anton was
mess
like,
with this
fucking
shit.
run. Anton showed a clear fear of this creature, as it seemed that he'd clearly encountered it in the past.
Right, yeah. Okay. Uh I guess since he's all injured, I'm not gonna bother him for spells, but I'll probably come back and do that later.
Mm-hmm.
That basically wraps up what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have anything, I'll probably just be traveling to Stone Farm.
I will say that vision does compel you. You you do have a. There is an internal
Right,
feeling of checking out that crater.
right, yeah, because that was on the path to Zeldrif's tower,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
It was on the way to Stone Farm. You definitely passed this point.
right, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But I'll let him know that I'm leaving, tell everyone goodbye, pack up my things, and then head out of the tower.
As you kind of head out, he just kind of lifts his head up from like where he's like like kind of has it kind of slouched a little bit. He just says, "When you go out there, just let Distilla know that I'll be with her later."
What did you say her name was?
Distillo.
The amethyst one, right?
Yes.
Um, that name is familiar. I was reading something in your library uh about Lumen, the that dark wizard. And Distill is one of the names of the dragons that are still alive from that are related to the entity that is depicted with Lumen.
kind of gives you a nod.
Is she one of the dragons that's related to that great power?
It's believed to be that way, yes.
Does she know of anything with Lumen about her ancestors?
No, unfortunately not.
I
The,
see.
the only thing that she has pursued, and has been with my help, is she is interested in immortality and extension of life. And I have helped her with that, and that's why she's a bit worried about me at the moment.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll let her know before I leave. I'll kind of bow and go ahead and take my leave and let her know on the way out that he wants her.
And he kind of gives you a nod and then kind of almost lays his head on the table, just kind of tiredly.
Jesus. I'll be right back. I just heard the door open, so I gotta check who that is.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
I hope you guys are enjoying. I hope you guys are enjoying so far. I need a bathroom break at some point, but he beat me to the punchline because he's gonna go check someone at the door. Oh my god. I hope you guys are enjoying so far, though. I'm having a great time with this story. We're about to get to the best part. The best part is coming. He doesn't know. He does not know the things that come in the night. Yes. This will be fun. Fun, 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 fun. Da, 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 na, na. I don't know what to mention here. We have a lot. We don't have much going on right now. I know next week we have the Scale of Fate continuing, which Calder will be back with the main party for. Trying not to leave the chat silent for too long. Just kind of Jay chilling like a villain. Do. Anyone in chat want to say anything? Huh? It's my first time talking to chat in the COD because we don't normally do that. We're usually quite busy with RPing. Very nice.
Back.
Returned. All right.
Yep.
You ready for? So you okay? So you let her know.
Yeah.
You just saying he needs time or whatever, and then kind of walking off. Like, how are you wanting to tell her? While you're telling me that, I'm going to go run to the bathroom. I will still hear you, but just tell me.
Okay. I honestly forgot what he said because I was typing and thinking.
So he said, let her know that he'll be with her some point later. He just needs time to rest.
Right. Okay. So I'll basically walk out and be like, "Hey, you're Distillo, right?"
She would just
Yes,
be
yes,
like,
that's me.
no, she would just say yes.
Zeldrif had let me know that he's trying to rest after that encounter with the mirror creature, is what I'll just call it for now. So he'll talk to you later about whatever you guys were going to discuss. I guess I'll apologize on his behalf for the wait.
She kind of gives you a slight nod and just says, well, I appreciate the message.
Of course.
You just kind of head off out of the tower.
Yep.
All right. Give me a moment. You keep the stream happy for a moment. I'm gonna go use that.
All right, streamers, can we get Papega in the chat? There is that a thing still? So I'm eating thin crust pizza right now, and it slaps. If y'all have opinions on thin crust, it better be good. Deep dish is also good, but normal pizza It's not. It's not poggers. It has to be like on the two ends of the spectrum. The middle is just kind of mid. Um, I really wish they could involve like thin crust pizza for like the middle of the pizza, and when you get into the crust section, like at the end, it could be like stuffed crust. Cause like, damn, that makes so much money, bro. I'm a genius sometimes, and I sit here and play D&D.
The con has turned into a shitty review on pizza.
It's not shitty. Thin crust slaps. It's not shitty. I hate
Just
you.
the way you were doing it is pretty funny. It was just like some like random like vlogger on like Instagram or something. That was the feel I got, like a random VTuber or something. Oh my god. Anyways, on a different note, would you like to head to this place? 'Cause
I'd love some
I'm not
bad.
gonna make you roll for anything right now because your trip will be fairly uneventful.
Thank
Uh,
God.
so it takes you about probably 2 days to get to this uh, crater.
Stone Farm. Oh, Crater. Fuck.
No, Stone Farm's much further away. But you get to this crater,
Mhm.
and standing on the edge of it, you do see kind of like there is a rough path you can take down, and you see this stone tower that seems to stand in the very center of it. That seems to just be tall enough to peek over, like just to be just higher than the edge of this crater. And there's something extremely odd about this crater, too, that you've noticed. That looking at it, it is perfectly smooth. And it also seems that there is, even though there looks to be no way that water would be able to get out of this crater, there seems
Mhm.
to be not there seems to be no water. Even though you have seen it rain in these mountains, and it looks like it should have water in it at some point, it looks like it has never had water at the bottom.
Intriguing.
And as you kind of like head towards this tower, there's this odd feeling of familiarity you get from it. You feel as if you've walked this path before,
I don't like that.
and you don't know why you feel this feeling, but there's a sensation about it that like it feels familiar. And as you kind of move towards this down this path towards what looks to be an opening within this tower, um, you do for you ever so slightly hear that music again.
Oh my fucking God.
And as you kind of make it to this tower and you see the opening, it looks like a long cave. So this tower itself, you notice this tower, it is probably about 40, 50 feet in diameter.
Mhm.
This cave looks to go straight for about 100, 200 feet. That seems to be in the side of this tower. What would you like to do?
Head straight for no. I'm gonna definitely gonna prepare a spell.
Okay. It is dark in here too.
I have dark vision. I have the owl goggles.
That's right. You have the owl goggles. I forgot you had those.
120 motherfucking feet of
Okay.
dark vision. Yeah, it's nasty.
Yes, I made it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you enter the cave.
I
Not
will
cave,
prepare.
tunnel. The tunnel.
Yeah.
You enter the tunnel, and as you kind of like move down it, uh, where you get to like the end of this, you get within like 120 feet of like the end of this thing. You see it is ever so slightly collapsed, and there is a doorway behind the rubble from how some of this tunnel has collapsed. And upon kind of reaching it, it does seem to be climbable. It would be quite easy to climb over this. and then get to the door, which seems to have enough space. It's a set of like these metal double doors, and it seems there is enough space to open said doors to get it.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do that instead of casting Unseen Servant to help me just carry that shit now. I'll just crawl over. I don't
Okay.
have it prepared. So.
Yeah. So you crawl over and you're standing before this door that you have seen in your vision before. Do you wish to push your way in?
Hold on. I'm on mute to say hi.
Into the secret tower he goes.
I'm back. Sorry, we have company over.
Company, am I right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Pause before opening the door. Is it just the dream that I've been having? I don't even know.
you had this vision a few times. Or the vision you've had has
Right.
included
Yeah.
this door a few
Okay.
times.
Yeah. Stone Tower. There's a large man over a table looking over some scrolls and books, muttering. A small black feathered individual comes up and offers him a cup.
Yeah.
Let's see. Calder in the dark place. A figure emerges from the dark with a cloak and armor. That's the thing. I'm trying to find the fucking thing. Oh well, yeah. All right, I'll walk in.
Okay. You push through and you find yourself in a very large. It's almost reminiscent of the Mad Wizard's lab in its setup, but it's not as desolate. It does seem to be a lab of some sort that you've entered. There's a very large front chamber that you seem to have entered. Some of the glass within some of the there seem to be like 4 doorways or 3 doorways within this chamber. Um, and looking about at these doors, you see that 2 of these doorways that they have windows. They're like the doors you'd see in like a hospital type deal.
Yeah.
2 of these doorways seem to have the glass shattered out of them. The glass is not on the floor as it seems to have been cleaned up at some point, but there are bits of
Empty.
yeah they're empty, and there does seem to be a few bits of like jagged shards still in it that haven't been removed, but they're not falling out of the door, so they don't seem to be an issue.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, there are 2 doorways. You do notice though the one in the front, there seems to be a light near the end of it. Um, and there does sound like someone shifting about.
Okay. Past the door without the window.
The door that's at the very like that is directly opposite of you has broken glass. It's one of the
The
two.
middle.
Yeah, the middle door.
Okay. I'll sneak, and I'll roll stealth for it.
Let's do this. Roll stealth.
Oh, crit! 22.
22.
Oh my god. And I'll kind of sneak up and try and peer through the door.
Okay. You see that semi-long hallway. There's a few doorways to the left and right. About probably 6 rooms in total that connect to this hallway before the hallway opens up into a large chamber in the back on the opposite side. And you do see on the opposite side there you see the shadow of someone shifting about, a very large individual that seems to be moving about.
Can I see the guy at all?
No, they're out of view of this hallway. You see their shadow being casted across the floor.
Okay. I'm gonna look through the other window door.
The one with or without glass.
Well,
Down that corridor, it looks to be it's kind of a this is another. It's a shorter hallway, and at the end of it looks to have a very nice set of wooden doors, and there's light coming out from underneath these doors, and you can see written on the door in Draconic. There seems to be the words archives and tomes.
okay. And I'll look through the other one now.
The other one looks to uh, this hallway looks to be a bit desecrated. There has been a bit of cleaning to like fix this. The walls look to be cracked. There seems to be burns uh, and possibly blood stains on the floor. There looks to be several chambers that seem to break off of this hallway, um,
Mhm.
as well as at the very end there does seem to be a very large chamber with what looked to be once uh, a very large kind of arcane circle of some sort that seems to have large scrapes and breaks within it.
Mm. Broken teleportation circle. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll go down the middle room that I saw the shadow through
Okay. You,
stealthily.
yeah, you head down this hallway, um, making your way to
I
the
just want
very.
to see if I can see the person
Yeah, you
at all.
get most of the way down this hallway before you can actually get a view of the individual. Standing next to what looks to be a kind of makeshift fireplace, you see a very large. Uh, I'm going to specify this male amethyst dragonborn with a book in one hand, and in the other he looks to be holding a staff. He's dressed in a very nice robe, very similar to the one that Zeldrif wears, and seems to have several rings upon his right hand, as well as a what looks to be, you can see as he kind of shifts about and he doesn't notice you, an amulet of proof against detection and location on his neck.
Okay. Ah, motherfucker. All right.
He does seem to be muttering under his breath, and his voice does seem familiar to you.
This is gonna suck. I'll stand up, unstealth, and knock on the wall, and say, "Pardon the intrusion."
He seems to jump ever so slightly, the book actually falling from his hand for a moment before stopping due to a mage hand that he seems to
Yeah.
recall the book with before closing it and sticking it into what you hadn't noticed before underneath the cloak, but a holster for the book that he sets it
Right.
into. And he turns towards you, and he looks surprised, but at the same time almost expecting.
Uh huh. I'll say, "Sorry. Would have loved to just kept sneaking around, but you look very familiar, and I just can't put it to face, to name, to memory, to anything."
I'm not surprised that you don't remember me, considering I am part of the reason you don't remember me. Calder.
I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark. Titus?
He gives you very slight, like very slow nod.
Titus.
Almost has a sorrowful look in his eyes at the thought of the past. And he says, "It was only a matter of time until you found me."
Well, when someone comes into another person's dreams, it's kind of hard to ignore that type of thing.
He gives you kind of a slight look of confusion, and he says, "I have not been attempting to do any sort of thing."
Well, I'll kind of roll up my sleeve. This kind of helps.
I see. Gifted with
Now,
prophecy.
yes, you have a lot of talking to do, and I have a decent amount of time. So, start talking.
I assume you're here to find out about what I took from you.
Everything. Everything. Start from the very beginning.
He sighs and makes a gesture with his hand, and as he does, you notice that these like kind of two chairs are kind of off to the side of the room shift to kind of move next to this fire, and he takes a seat in one of them, kind of leaning the staff up against the chair as he sits down. And kind of leans onto his knees a little bit, waiting for you to sit down.
Calder will approach slowly and take a seat. Kind of keep his, like, not cross his legs, but cross one leg over the other.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, sit back a little. Be like, well, go ahead. And pause. Do we want to do this in this session, or do we want to do
No,
this
I can
outside of
give
the
you
session?
I can give you everything.
Okay. Because I'm perfectly fine with ending it here,
You would spend
and then
several.
you just...
You would spend hours with him
Yeah.
during this conversation. During the time that he would explain this, he would explain that he altered your memory after a failed experiment. That when the experiment had failed, which we'll get to the experiment in a second on what it was, but when it had failed, you were in a state of distress due to the side effects of this said experiment. And he decided to remove your memory of the time you spent here in order to help you cope with this event.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains that you and him had been working together for that 5-year period you don't remember, doing research on the arcane and the supernatural and of entities beyond the material plane, one of which being the demonic entity that's moving around or the fiendish entity moving around by the name of Lucian, who you had imprisoned, had been learning about before his escape due to an experiment failing that in a different chamber that allowed him to escape. And he also explains to you that Agrog used to work here as well with you and has been hiding it from others because he doesn't wish to let anyone know that he was a part of this. Because Agrog was the leader of the projects that you were all doing. And he also brings up that the failed experiment that you had been doing was a attempt to be able to access other timelines, being able to kind of jump from one timeline to another to acquire information, people, resources, things of that nature, and then come back. And the experiment had failed due to some miscalculations and an intrusion by Svex, the Sarthstagian paladin that you had all met in the beginning, thus sparking his Agrog's disdain for him, even though Svex had no idea due to the loss of memory from the intrusion. He does also mention that Agrog has been wanted dead by Sarstag for quite some time as well.
Okay. Where does Callista Callista come into this?
Oh, so Callista was you could say a partner or a acquaintance of sorts. She helped with some experiments. She came in and brought in knowledge for things and also helped with a few experiments for a price, which her price was increasing her own abilities as well as youthfulness. So she has actually extended her life through your guys' experiments. That's why she was in the state she was in when you met her.
Right.
And why she is not fond of you, but very accepting of you over other people.
Okay.
Because
And then,
you aided her in a way without your knowing anymore.
then where does Usiv come into this? Doesn't he?
Usiv does not. He was a part of the Mad Wizard thing.
Right. Okay. Because it was
There's
Titus.
there's so many
Agrog.
branches. Yeah, it's Titus and
Yeah.
Agrog were a part of this. Zeldrif is never mentioned. Zeldrif had no part of this, and it was it was you, Agrog, and Titus were the three that did experiments here, and it was only you three working together.
Okay. And Callista would come in.
And Callista would come in and aid on occasion, but for a price, and you guys generally gave her pretty good, payment for her information.
Right. Okay. Does he go into detail of why Calder was in so much distress?
The detail would have been you went into distress because of the realization of what kind of calamities could come out of this.
Right.
Because you didn't know the side effects of what you had done.
Which were...
And it was the side effects that he has documented have been strange alterations in time. There have been odd incidences where individuals have been randomly moved from one location to another without any rhyme or reason. And there has been the appearance of various entities who should not have shown themselves by this point, but who have come out earlier than they were supposed to.
So basically, what you're saying is Calder caused the 5-year gap. And
No,
all the
the 5-year gap was
flux?
done by him casting the spell Alter Memory on
Right.
you.
But Calder learning about all the
Yeah,
anomalies,
the anomalies
people,
from it were
and
caused
the
by
influx
they
were
weren't
caused
necessarily
by the fucking
by their experiments.
experiment. Oh, fuck. Damn, okay.
And as this kind of conversation ends and you kind of taking in what he has said, he kind of he looks a little he looks at you kind of empathetically. And he says, I know it's quite a bit to take in. You can take your time on the information. Though, I do have someone here that I believe you would like to see without realizing who it is.
Okay.
And kind of gets to his feet. He kind of abandons the staff and just kind of walks off down the hallway that you had come from.
Right.
And as you kind of like follow him, you do see him kind of throw a hand up and produce these globules of light to allow himself to see better as he's kind of walking. And he turns towards that other doorway you'd seen the archives and tomes.
Right, yeah.
And as you kind of get to the door, you do hear on the other side someone shuffling about. like kind of rapidly at the sound of like someone coming to the door. And upon entering the chamber, um, you see within this kind of library there seems to have been set up kind of like a bed off to the side. It's a large library, very large, like library filled with there's what looked to be, I guess, in the medieval times, the equivalent of a filing cabinet,
Right.
and
Yeah.
there are shelves covered, like filled with scrolls and various tomes and other things. And off to the side, you see there looks to be sort of like living quarters that has been set up. There's a bed, a small table, which upon this table you notice a few things. You looking at it, you notice there is a deck of cards, a very odd looking deck of cards, a what looks to be an enchanted sling, a large black feather, and what looks to be a golden lute. And kind of looking about this space, roll me a perception check.
Please. Oh my fucking god. 9.
9.
My passive is 11 though. God damn it, man.
You kind of look around, kind of a little confused. Uh, though, as you kind of like look about, you do catch a glimpse of a book fall off a shelf. Um, Before it kind of lifts itself out of sight. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
And you hear kind of a shy voice come from the back. They kind of speak out and just say, why did you bring him in here?" Titus kind of lets out a sigh, kind of looks to you, looks back, and just says, "Just come out, friend. He's There's no need to be startled by him coming in. You've had your time to heal."
Calder will be very confused. Like a puzzled look on his face.
Hmm. You see Titus kind of shift his hand a little bit, and you watch him cast Dispel Magic.
Oh shit.
And from behind the shelf, uh, you see for a glimpse of a moment as this invisibility spell that was cast on the individual who was hiding, you see a set of purple eyes kind of dart out of sight, as well as essentially you don't know if it's skin or what, but you saw black with these purple eyes shift really quickly out of sight behind the shelf.
I guess Calder will just like start walking over, being like, "Hello, like, who is so afraid of me?"
You hear from like the other side. You hear him kind of producing this deep breathing, kind of like almost not like panicked, but like almost hyperventilating due to like stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear the sound of flapping wings.
Oh.
And upon getting around the corner, you see a few black feathers falling to the ground as a cloaked individual, like you see a cloak kind of disappear on the top of a shelf, or like on the top of the shelves that are in here.
I'll be like, "Come on now, no need for hiding," and mage hand to see if I can pull the hood down of the cloak.
Roll, roll sleight of hand.
Oh, damn, 8.
All right. Um, you attempt this, and you see the individual kind of reach up and kind of yank the hood a little bit. And he just says, "It's too soon. I can't. Not yet." They kind of, as they kind of shift, you do get the sight of a black beak, very large black beak.
Let's fucking go.
Before the individual kind of scurries a little bit to a different part of the shelf. Um, Titus just watching this, fairly disappointed by his inability to cooperate.
I'll kind of look over to Titus and shrug and be like, well, if he's not comfortable, I don't per se have an opinion on this. And I'll start walking back over to Titus at the entrance, kind of glancing at some of the shelves of books to see if anything catches my eye.
He says, "I spoke with him about this already, and we agreed that when you came, he would confront you. And now he's holding back." He kind of looks up towards the shelf and says, "After everything I've done for you, this is what you're going to do?" The individual on top of the shelf doesn't answer at first. And you looking through these kind of like tomes and stuff, you do see a lot of things. They look to be tomes speaking of various kind of dunamancies and time-altering magics and things of that nature. A lot of it looked to be theoretical and not
Right.
anything proven, but it's a lot of like they look to be notes, and you do notice that a lot of them have the same kind of symbol on it that in Draconic would be the equivalent of a TG, which looks to be an initial of some sort, which you would assume it would be Titus's.
Titus Goalkeeper. I don't know.
You would know his name is Gemscale. Was his last name?
Scale. What a lame Latin. No.
Damn, cut me down. Yeah, but you notice that as you kind of get to Titus again, you hear wings again, but this time more of a gliding, and the black beak kind of peeks around a corner again. You see the face of Jabbers kind of looking at you.
Let's fucking go!
And you see the cloak he's wearing. He's holding very tightly to this this cloak that he has around him. And you do notice on this cloak, around kind of the neck of this cloak, there are these like patches that look to be in like the shape of stars.
Oh.
6 of them to be exact. And he kind of slowly kind of steps out, holding the cloak very closely to himself. And you also notice that extruding from this cloak are a pair of very large black wings.
Pog.
He stops several feet from you, kind of keeping his eyes kind of he like glances up at you, and it puts his eyes go back to the ground. He glances up at you again. He says, "It's been some time."
Yes, it has. I see you finally learned how to talk. You've grown a bit, too.
A little. It was because of that wizard.
I always wondered what he was doing to you. What that mark did.
It seemed to change me. Remove the curse that my kind have on them. Specifically off me. You do notice as he's kind of like shifting about, you do notice a runic symbol on his wrist as well. Not the same as yours, but a different one. He kind of says, did a lot of wandering after I left. Ran across a couple of things and ended up finding myself here.
I see. Now, what's that on your wrist? Looks similar to mine.
It's. He kind of slowly kind of pulls the sleeve up a little bit. He says, "It's. I'm. Titus says it's. Keeps me from being detected by certain magics.
Hmm.
And allows me to essentially end spells that I don't want to be around."
I see. Well, that might come in handy. Are you planning to rejoin our group? I think Orion would love to see your face again.
He almost looks unsure, and then Titus kind of steps in and said, "I think it's time that you go back with them."
Let's fucking go!
It's like I feel that I've taken care of you long enough, and you need to go back
Get out
to
of my
those that you've
goddamn
left behind.
house. I mean, what?
Get out of my house! You're living here rent free. He says, you need to go reunite with those that you always speak to me about. You've told me so many stories about them, and I feel that you need to go." Jabber's kind of gives him a very slight, kind of unsure nod, and kind of lets go of the robe and just kind of like stands there kind of awkwardly.
Mm-hmm.
And you do notice the only thing on him that seems to be what he used to have. The only thing you are actually, you never noticed it before. You do see a ring on his finger though. You'd never noticed this ring. The ring, you would be able to recognize it as a ring of mind shielding.
Ooh,
And you see him
'cause I
fiddling
have
with.
one.
You see him fiddling with it, and as he does, you see him kind of like muttering under his breath, as if he's speaking with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of lets out a sigh and just says, "Yes, I should go back to them."
Well, as long as you feel comfortable, we welcome you back with open arms. Wings? Arms? Mainly arms.
See, Titus kind of smirk a little bit. He says, "You haven't changed."
Well, you know me. I guess a little bit better than I knew me.
Yes, and I'm still a bit guilty about that, but
Well, your guilt can now go to rest because I'm caught up. Well, mainly caught up. There's a few parts that I need to look back through, but that can wait. Now, I guess with the time, we should probably rest here. Don't want to head to Stone Farm through the night, so.
he gives you a nod,
Titus?
just says, "I can find a place for you to rest for the night. If you would like, I can aid you in going there in the morning."
Sounds good to me.
He gives you a nod and kind of gestures for you to follow, and he takes you to he takes you back to that big room, and there were a couple of side rooms that were like in that hallway, like the side chambers. He leads you into one of them that looks to be like a storage room that seems to have a supply of just beds in it that he's just had in here.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like the frame or anything. It is just like these old kind of like mattresses that he has
Mm-hmm.
just had supplied in here.
Jesus.
Clearly, they had a reason. They had a purpose at some point. They look to have not had a purpose in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Dead bugs and all that other shit's in there now.
No, it looks mainly like it's just like a lot of dust has collected on the top ones.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of, as you kind of go in there, he kind of moves some of the mattresses around and kind of beats off some of the dust and coughs a little bit doing it, and kind of helps you set up a place to rest for the night. And then he says, uh, if you need anything, I'll be in the main chamber.
Sounds good.
I will see you in the morning.
Of course.
Slowly kind of makes his way out of the room, leaves you to rest for the night. This night, there are no visions.
Fucking finally.
you have a sound night of sleep. Waking up the next morning to
Can we speed run this part?
yeah, this part's quick. You would go out and you would find Titus, who is going to once you and Jabbers have collected your things,
Mm-hmm.
he is going to teleport both of you just outside of Stone Farm, overlooking the dome surrounding it. As you both stand there on the mountainside, looking down at the cavalry of the troops of the king, as well as you do notice that the king and the prince are down there with their troops. And as you kind of appear like in this place as well, um, you do see your friends standing on the edge of the dome, speaking to the king and the prince before disappearing, leading the prince and the king. Oh, not the king, the prince and a centaur. That's right, a centaur that was speaking with them. You see them talking before they both just are. They are both left behind by your party as they just seem to vanish and reappear within the dome. Speaking to an individual that you can't quite make out from the distance before they wander off deeper, or one of them walks off deeper into the town with this individual.
I see.
And
I will thank Titus,
oh yeah.
and fuck, I want to give him another sending stone or some way to talk to me. But
As you kind of do that, he says, "You can
I don't
reach me
have.
using the sending spell if you have that."
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, that is the easiest way to reach me. And well, you know me, so it shouldn't be hard to send a message.
Sounds good. I'll keep in touch with any questions or anything that I need. And that teleportation circle that was kind of broken on the right side. Do you plan on rebuilding that anytime soon?
That was the chamber we attempted to cast that spell to access other timelines. It, as you can see, destroyed the room.
Right.
And he kind of rummages around in his pockets for a moment. Reaches into a pocket of his cloak, and as he does, it kind of his arm goes a little deeper than it's supposed to, and he pulls out a blank sheet of paper, and reaching into another pocket, kind of pulls out a what looks to be kind of a fountain pen of some sort, kind of this
Right.
feather that seems to be producing its own ink, and scrawls onto it a symbol, hands it to you, and just says, "This is what you'd need to perform the circle to get to me. It will lead you outside the tower, kind of up in the woods next to the crater, but it's, well,
Better than walking.
it's much better than walking."
I'll thank him. Give him a nodded bow and start walking down the mountain.
Okay. He gives you the same nod back before, just kind of vanishing from existence. just kind of disappearing.
Dead. No.
Dead. He's been deleted. He's no longer a character. And Jabbers kind of looks back at him for a moment and once again kind of grabs at his cloak a little bit, kind of pulls it up over his head. And you do notice on his pack, he does have that hat that he used to wear all the time hanging off of his pack. He doesn't seem to be wearing it, but he does have that very large kind of bardic hat with his own black feather sticking out of it, dangling from his bag.
Nice.
And on that note, I think that's where we'll end your session. As you
Level?
No, the other party hasn't leveled up yet.
Damn it!
But next session.
Like, come on! I learned so much stuff. That should count for a level.
I'm not getting you one level above the party.
God damn it, man! I would have rubbed it all in their faces too.
You got more lore than they did, so that's your benefit. You know more about the world than they do.
Oh, you know so much more about the world than they do. Wow! You know what that means?
Ungracious
Nothing.
Hey, you got Jabbers back. That's something
did.
that's something you could rub in their faces.
Yeah, I did get Jabbers back. I just messaged Rob about it. I was like, "Let's fucking go." He's offline, so he hasn't seen it yet.
Rob's gonna lose his shit when he sees that message.
I know.
Shit is
Like,
britches.
it's gonna be, what is it? This Monday, it's gonna be like, and we're back as Calder and a hooded figure walks forward to meet the party. Just like, uh-oh.
It's gonna be the next session is gonna be interesting. I gotta write some notes on exactly how we're gonna do it, but it's gonna be interesting.
I have so much lore now.
Rob also has to play 2 characters in the next session, because Rat Dog came back.
What?
There's a lot happening right now, and it's gonna be a temporary thing. He's not gonna be playing permanently, but he's having an interaction between Orion and Rat Dog. So. Until next time.
Dragon.
Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, I see the chat just like, oh, what the fuck? No, we hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to catch us in the next one, 3 ways to find out. Follow the Twitch, turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we go live. Join the Discord, give you the same benefit as well as talking to others within our community, as well as possibly partaking in events that we may do as the community grows, if it gets big enough to even have such events. And the last way is to follow the Twitter, where I try to keep everyone up to date. I did a terrible job today because I was unsure if we were actually doing this today, even though I talked to Evan about this. And so I just didn't post. No, it's my fault for not reaching out because I was playing Black Mesa and a bunch of other games all day instead of doing what I needed to do. And the last thing you can do, if you want to catch up on previous episodes, go follow the YouTube page. We have curated playlists just for you to catch up on all the events of this series.
Bullshittery.
Yeah, bullshittery. Our bullshittery of D&D stuff. From beginning to end. Or beginning to current, depending on if the campaign is over yet or not. So we hope you guys enjoyed, and we hope to see you all in the next one. Peace.